Welcome to the world of Marukyu baits. Today I'm with John Hall, who's obviously catching one a bung as usual. John, I see you're testing out one of the new baits. You've been one of our pro team members for a long time. This is EFG130. It's a little bit different from the 131 that everybody's been using.
Yeah.
How have you been getting on with it?
It's absolutely awesome. Most of the time your feeder don't even have time to hit the bottom and your tips flew around. It's absolutely brilliant.
I think it's with this 1.3 series as well, it's been all species. Have you noticed that? Bream tench as well?
Yeah, I've caught roach and all sorts on it as well. You can just catch everything. Anything that's in your peg is going to eat the stuff.
Okay, and it's cold water specific, we know that. That's a little bit about the bait. Understanding the science is the important part. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take a look at the science behind EFG130. We know how devastating this bait is, but it's understanding the science behind it which is the key. And once we understand the science, we're going to catch a lot more fish. EFG130 is very, very special indeed. It's similar in many aspects to the 131, but it's a lot finer, and the scientists have really cracked this cold water situation, and what we've got in there is more small molecules, more small free-flowing additives, so the attraction is going to be really good. As you know, when water gets colder it gets denser, so this is very, very important. The other thing, of course, it will be devastating in the winter. We need low feed, and this is actually a low feed bait. You can use it for all of your normal applications. Perfect for the method, super in an open end feeder, and of course it'll make paste. We've mixed this at exactly what it says on the packet, 2.5 to 1. And at 2.5 to 1, if I put some in this feeder, you'll see what's actually going to happen. It feels quite sticky. So sticky, in fact, that you'd think it's going to be a slow release bait. But if we drop him in, you'll see. Okay, it's at the bottom, 4 or 5 feet of water. And as you can see, already it started to explode out, hence the name Exploding Formula Ground Baits. That's crucial. One of the things you do not want is a bait that's cloggy and is going to stop there in the feeder. Immediately, all of these flavours, all of the attractions are actually racing out. The other interesting thing is there, you can see some green particles floating about. This is one of Marukyu's secrets, and of course this is part of the nori formula. Nori is a combination of seaweeds and kelps. In fact, it's 5 different seaweeds and kelps that have been blended and processed together. These are going to drift off, but the interesting thing is there is no food value in those at all. That is purely an attractant. Like John has found out, just like 131 is, it's an all-species bait, so if you wanted to target chub, bream, tench, barbel, this is it, this 1.3 series. But as I say, 130 is now special with its cold water attractions. The other great thing with all of these baits, of course, they'll make incredible paste baits. And I've got this mixed up here, exactly as it said on the packet. 2.5 to 1. And you'll notice how active it is. It's no good being a dead bait. You can see it really is active. If I wanted to slow that breakdown down a little bit, all I'm going to do is add some water, so I'd be on the 3.5 to 1. And of course, I can also alter how quick it's going to break down by the squeeze. This is an incredible bait for balling. And where people get a little bit confused, you can see I'm really squeezing this really hard. Now let's imagine it's winter. My swim is 4 to 5 foot deep. I want to catch every species that is in there. What I need is a bait that's going to go down on the bottom, explode, and of course all the attractants are going to come away from it. So we'll drop that one in, just see what happens. Now you saw how hard I was squeezing that. It's just hit the bottom. Look at that, that's absolutely incredible. And this is, of course, is the key to catching all of these fish. As with all Marukyu baits, of course, they are the most environmentally friendly baits in the world. And this is the great thing about it. I know the fish are going to eat this, but even if you went to a situation where there wasn't any fish, the bacteria will break this down very, very quickly. We're talking here baits that are made for catching fish and not baits that are made for feeding fish. There is a massive difference. So that's the breakdown of EFG130. It will be absolutely devastating this winter. Well, John, that didn't take long.
No.
Right, we've talked about the science. We know how good these baits are. Give us some top tips.
Well, what I would say is don't mix up too much of the bait. Just mix up, you know, as much as you're going to use for the session. You can reseal the bag, so just mix up as much as you're going to need. And throw away your riddle. You're not going to need a riddle anymore because this stuff don't need riddling at all.
Yeah.
Just make sure you follow the instructions on the back as to how much water to put in, and it'll be perfect every time.
I see a lot of people mix their bait up the night before.
No need to do
that.
No need to. I mixed this stuff up 15 minutes ago. It's absolutely perfect now.
I agree with you. I think you're better off to have two mix because you've got the noise element as well coming off it. Well, that's really good, and we know it makes brilliant paste. You've caught lots on it when you've been paste fishing as well.
Yeah.
What you got on there? It must be a crocodile.
Yeah, it's only just cast out as well.
I think the other thing as well with this type of bait, you can definitely get away with a smaller feeder. You know, there's so much power of attraction down there, whereas we used to use big feeders. You can use one half the size now. Yeah.
Also, the bait mixes up to a hell of a lot as well.
Yeah.
The whole bag will give you plenty for, you know, a full match or 6-7 hours fishing, no problem.
Okay.
It's surprising now. When it's dry, it don't look like much bait, and as soon as you add water, it, you know, doubles in volume.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Another top tip, of course, is never freeze it afterwards, because you're just going to lose all the attractors at it. Well, that's brilliant. Well, that's about EFG131 and 130. 130 is going to be your winter formula. It will be absolutely devastating, as we've found out today.
Yep.
Thank you very much.